Halloween 2018 is coming past, so let's take a look back at some of the best Halloween costumes. These people dressed up as Shrek and Fiona, that's pretty insane. Lil Pump dressed up as an avatar, and this dude dressed up as Michael Myers? Yeah, you can only be so creative on Halloween, which gives the rest of us a lot of hilarious fails for costumes. So welcome to the 10 biggest Halloween costume fails of 2018. Don't forget to like the video and comment what you were for Halloween. The most creative comment gets pinned. Let's get into this. In at our number 10 spot is Michael Myers. When it comes to the scariest horror movie villains of all time, chances are people are gonna name the same 3 characters. I mean, sure, the odd person might say Chucky the Killer Doll or Ghostface from Scream, but for most people, it's between Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and Michael Myers. Michael Myers is often said to be the most frightening of the 3, and with the new Halloween movie coming out, no surprise people want to dress as him, which is what makes this next costume extra disappointing. I mean, come on, just look at it. Not only does it look nothing like the mask in the picture, but it looks nothing like any of the Halloween masks at all. It straight up looks like it was designed in a basement in the pitch black by a 4-year-old. Actually, you know what? Wait, that might be offensive to 4-year-olds. Coming in at our number 9 spot is the Banana Wolverine. This isn't a costume that went super wrong and accidentally started looking like something else. Oh no, it is way, way worse than that. This guy was getting ready to go to a party as Wolverine, which is a pretty epic costume idea if you ask me, but then he decided he needed to spice things up a bit, or well, make it a little bit more fruity? If you decide to go as Wolverine, that's awesome, but my man here had a vision of Wolverine and a banana combining. Yeah, you heard me right. One of the most ferocious X-Men of all time now looks like a tasty potassium-filled snack with stripes, and don't even get me started on the gloves. Coming in at our number 8 spot, we have the Snail. So when you're picking a costume for Halloween, you basically have 3 options. 1, you look like pretty or handsome, or you go for a comedy costume to be funny, or 3, you try to look downright terrifying. The problem with this one is, it doesn't fall into any of the categories. That is, unless you're afraid of snails. I mean, to be fair, I guess the plastic bag looking like a snail trail is kinda clever, and the costume itself isn't like awful either. Honestly though, the whole thing just looks kind of depressing, so I'm guessing they weren't exactly the star of whatever Halloween party they ended up at. At our number 7 spot, we have Chewbacca. Have you ever heard the phrase, just work with what you got? Because I think that's what this next guy is trying to do with his costume. He was planning to go as Chewbacca, which is another classic costume that's really hard to go wrong with, but then he decided to cut some corners. I know exactly what happened here. This guy probably realized how hot and uncomfortable it would be to have a huge furry costume, so he decided he was hairy enough to just go without. He probably grabbed a cheap mask to save money, threw on some animal print pajama pants to complete the look, and ended up looking more like a caveman hybrid than Han Solo's best friend. In at our number 6 spot, we have Bert and Ernie. Best friend costumes are dope. I mean, if you and your friend went as Bonnie and Clyde, that's sweet. We've all watched Sesame Street, so to be honest, I can't really blame these guys for trying to go as Bert and Ernie, since they're probably the first ever best friends we see on TV growing up. Only problem is, costumes based on puppets can come off kind of, well, creepy, and if they're done badly enough, they turn into straight up nightmare fuel. I mean, what would you do if you saw either of these duos at a party? Because I know I'd be crossing the dance floor to get away from them. Still, at least they have each other, even if their friendship probably won't be the same after a whole night being made fun of for such awful costumes. At our number 5 spot, we have the Hulk. Alright guys, I'm gonna ask you all a question, and I want you to be honest with your answers. How many of you have ever skipped leg day at the gym? It's okay if you have. To be honest, I've done it, we've all done it. But I think this next costume is a pretty good reminder of why we, don't. This Hulk's top half looks pretty incredible, even if the face is scary for all the wrong reasons. But then the costume just kind of runs out? Maybe this guy just ran out of time to finish his outfit, or maybe he was just throwing a tantrum because Bruce is his least favorite Avenger. Who knows? It's just kind of weird. For number 4, we have Eye of Sauron from Lord of the Rings. Here's a hard truth that not everyone seemed to realize yet. Some characters, no matter how awesome they are, just don't make good costumes. Unless you're a full-time awesome designer with an unlimited budget and some serious creativity, there's no way you're making the killer blob look cool, and the same thing goes for Sauron. This girl looks more like an angry sunflower or some kind of parrot than she does the terrifying Lord of the Rings villain, and the dress doesn't really help her scare factor either. Still, I've got to give her credit for thinking outside the box, even if she probably should just stick to like a witch next year and be done with it. Coming in number 3, Ninja Turtles. If you've got a group of friends who are all into the same nerdy stuff you're into, it doesn't get much better than a squad costume. But you've got to start planning your outfits way in advance, otherwise you're gonna end up with a situation like these guys. I mean, sure, going as the Ninja Turtles is a pretty good idea, but you can't just cover your clothes in green duct tape and think you've got away with it. What happens if you want to get a drink? How do you go to the bathroom? How do you even see? Also, how much did all that tape cost? Because it looks like it might have been just cheaper to buy the costumes, but you know, what do I know? At number 2, we have Homer Simpson. You know how I said before that puppet costumes can turn accidentally terrifying really easily? Same thing goes for cartoon characters. I don't know why it is, but trying to recreate cartoons in the real world just never works, and that's extra true when it comes to The Simpsons. It should surprise exactly nobody that this Homer Simpson costume looks straight out of a sketchy YouTube video you find at 3 AM when you're like the pit of YouTube recommended. I mean, he looks like he's one step away from a crime spree, from the misshaped nose to the terrifying eyes to the 2 strands of pipe cleaner hair. Most of all though, I can't stop wondering why he's so dirty and grimy looking. Like seriously, did he escape from Springfield by crawling through the sewers? I guess we'll never know. Our honorable mention goes to Winnie the Pooh. Okay, so with most of these costumes, I could pinpoint exactly what went wrong. The costume doesn't fit right, or the makeup's like melting off, or they just didn't have the time or the money to make it look good. With this costume though, the person has just made some seriously weird choices, and I don't have an explanation for why. The costume looks a bit small, but other than that, it's totally fine. The problem here is the creepy as hell makeup they've gone with, which is nothing like Winnie the Pooh's actual bright yellow face. What's with the black eyeshadow, and why the nosebleed? This is a bear you really wouldn't want to meet in the 100-acre woods, trust me. Finally, our number 1 spot goes to R2-D2. You know when you order clothes online and when they arrive, they don't fit quite right? Kinda feels like that's what happened with this costume, except it's obviously homemade. I mean, R2-D2 is a character that's supposed to look harmless and adorable, and this version kinda makes me wanna, I don't know, close my eyes. Alright, so to be fair, I'm guessing this looks nowhere near as bad when he's kneeled down, and I'm guessing that's how it was designed to be worn. Even if that is true, it doesn't solve the problem of the terrifying dangly arms or the fact that the head can't move at all. Honestly, this one needs to be sent back to the repair yard. And there's our video on the top 10 biggest Halloween costume fails ever. If you thought the video was funny or you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. It's entirely free and it really supports the channel. Also, if you want to check out our last video, it'll be on screen in a second. But with that said, thank you all so much for watching, hope you enjoyed, and keep it here on Top 5 Central.